Hello everyone, I'm going to go over a quick training on our new Casio calculators. These keys and functions that I'm going to go over should definitely help throughout most of this year, and it should definitely help on assignments, assessment, or any kind of assignments you have that has to do with math. So I'm going to first turn on my calculator using this AC/on button, and it should turn right on. And if you are stuck at this screen right here, remember that we are always going to run on this matrix function. That's the first one. So you just make sure that you have your cursor there and you can press execute, or you can press this 1 to get on to the main screen. So this is the screen where you're going to do your basic mathematical operations. And I'm just going to go over some key buttons that you need to know. So this is the decimal point. You do not need to know that, okay? And this is the negative button. So remember that this calculator does not use the minus symbol for the negative symbol. So for example, if you did negative 10 minus 2, you would have to use the negative 10 minus 2 and then execute equals 2. If you used the minus 10, obviously it would not work. So if you used minus 10 minus 2, it would give you, oh, this one did not give you an error message. But if you press the minus symbol, it will give you an error message sometimes. So just make sure that you are using the negative symbol right there. Okay. All right, and then the next symbol that I would like to go over is the S to D button right here. So it's right above the 8. So what this does would be if you had a fraction, so 20 divided by 3, and you got a nice little decimal, okay? What this S to D button does, it converts it from a decimal to a fraction, or fraction to a decimal. So if you press that, you can get 20 over 3, so the fraction form of it. Okay. So let's say you wanted to get the square root of something. So the square root symbol, if you look at your calculator very carefully, you see a nice little yellow square root symbol right there. Whenever you would like to click on a yellow button, you always have to press this shift, it's in yellow, button first, and then press the X squared button, and a nice little square root button will pop up. Now, let's say we wanted to get the square root of 34. I'm going to do that. And if you wanted to take it out of the square root button, you need to use this cursor right here and take it out. And if you wanted to do like plus 2, it definitely does not have that square root button stretched out to plus 2. So that would be the correct way to do it if you were trying to come out of that square root button. Okay. So let's say that we wanted to get that. So if you press execute from there, for some reason it just gives you 2 plus square root of 34. Let's say you wanted to convert this into a decimal. So you use the S to D button, and it will nicely give you a decimal from that square root of 34 plus 2 equation. Okay. Alrighty, the next button I would like to go over would be the caret button. The caret button is used for exponents to bring to the power of. So let's say I wanted to say 2.5 times 10 to the power of 6. So if you look carefully, our caret button is right there underneath the vars sign. And if you press that, it nicely generates the exponential part of this number, and we'll keep that 10 as its base, and we can definitely input our exponent. So let's say power of 2. And then what you can do is you can take out your cursor if it's an equation that's longer, or you can go back and edit any numbers. And if you press execute, it should give you 250. Okay. So notice how I was going back, and what you can do is you can definitely edit your equations or expressions. If you wanted to delete this 2.5 and made it 3.5, you can use this delete button, this blue delete button, and it has a nice little backspace for us. And you can input a 3.5 instead. And then if you execute it, you see how this answer changed to 350? So definitely you can always go back and edit all of your operations, which is so nice. Let's say you wanted to delete this whole screen. Okay, so you want a fresh new screen, you don't want to constantly go up and whatnot. So in order to delete your screen, you see this delete button right there. If you don't see it, always try to press the exit button, and it'll pop up definitely. So you're going to press F2. And then what this means is delete line. So it's asking you if you want to delete the row or delete everything. So I want to delete everything. So I'm going to say F2, delete all, and it'll ask for confirmation. And you're going to say yes by clicking on F1. And now we have a fresh new screen. Now, we were using fractions on our Desmos calculator, and I'm going to show you a nice little way our calculator can finally put in mixed numbers. Mixed numbers are like 3.5, 5 2/5. And some students may say, okay, well, where is the fraction button? Because if you do 2 divided by 5, we don't have a fraction anymore. Well, there is a way that we can put in fractions. And this fraction button is, if you look closely, you see this button right here where it has A and B over C to D over C. And this symbol right here where it says, or it doesn't say anything, but it has a box and a box over box. Well, these two symbols or these two buttons are what we're going to use for fractions. So I want you to press Shift and then press this right here. And now you see how it gives you a template of how you can input your numbers into this mixed number format. So I'm going to put 2, use this cursor right here to just move it over, 3 over 5, okay? And let's say I wanted to add this to a fraction, 1/2. Now we don't want the mixed number form. We want the just regular fraction form. So let's say 1 over 2. Okay, and then execute it. So that would give you 31 over 10. And now let's say you wanted to convert that into a mixed number. So you want to simplify it. That is when you use this yellow button right here. You would use Shift and just press it, and you see how it converts it nicely into a mixed number. If you want to convert it back into an improper fraction, you can press Shift again, and there you go. You have 31 over 10. All right, so I went over how to convert all of the fractions into a decimals, a fraction into a mixed number, and proper fraction. So I think I have covered most of the symbols for our classes. Also, if you want to just look at the yellow buttons or the white buttons, you can definitely just start looking at the different functions that you have. Definitely you will be using the pi, the caret. Just so you know, the pi button is actually right here. So the Shift x10 to the x power will give you the pi symbol, but we know that we can definitely use 3.14, but if you wanted to use the pi symbol, there you go. But again, I did go over most of the keys and buttons that we are going to use for our math classes. If you have any questions, you can definitely ask your teachers as well. All right, so I'm going to delete my screen again, and I'm going to turn off my calculator by pressing Shift and AC.